I don't think we have much to talk about here on Today in Raider history, though. Not much has really taken place here. But in 1998, here in Raider history, the Oakland Raiders actually did defeat the San Diego Chargers Sunday in 1998, 17-10, behind Rich Gannon, who returned, and he threw a couple of touchdown passes, one to James Jett. Although the Raiders were eliminated from playoff contention earlier that day, it did actually get them back to 8-7. What am I talking about? I meant Jeff George, rather. Rich Gannon was 99. Oh, boy. I got to stop drinking that eggnog. But, yeah, it was Jeff George. The Raiders got the 17-10 victory, and it got them to 8-7. They lost the next week to Kansas City to finish 8-8, and it kind of just pretty much gave the Raiders that confidence they needed to start that 4-year run, which culminated in Super Bowl 37. We ended up signing Gannon in that offseason, and it really made things great here. You remember anything special about the 1998 Oakland Raiders on your end there, Jim?
Not much about the 98 Raiders. I remember, I think it was 99 when they came into Tennessee and lost. But 98 was kind of one of those years, I don't know. I hate to say I didn't quite follow them the way I usually do, but I can't remember. There wasn't much memorable about it that I can remember, to be honest.
Yeah, the first half of that season was great because the Raiders actually started out 6-2. Then Jeff George tore his groin, and we were forced to deal with bad football from Wade Wilson and Donald Hollis. And we finished 2-6 in the second half to finish 8-8.
Donald Hollis. There's a name you don't want to remember.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, I actually, Khalil Mack's performance actually made me go back and check out. They have that Redskins game from 1983 on YouTube, so I went back and checked out Howie Long's 5-sack performance.
But Howie Long, so I haven't really watched that game outside of the long touchdown pass to Cliff Branch in that one. It was all Howie sacks like in the first half or the second half, or were they like to spread out over the game?
He spread them out over the game, and to me, it took me back because I love watching him play. It reminded me how good he was. And he pretty much owned Joe Jacoby, who's, to me, a Hall of Fame level tackle. He was that good, Howie Long was. And they were. I know we usually do on this day in Raider history, but I just, because of Mac's performance, I did go back and I took a look at that game against the Redskins, and it was a lot of fun because the people forget.
I don't blame you. The Hogs were one hell of an offensive line.
Yeah, people forget how good Washington was that year, and that to me accentuated the way the Raiders won that Super Bowl. How impressive it was. But that was a fun game to watch because I think it finished 37-35 Washington. And it did have that 99-yard Cliff Branch catch. So it was kind of a walk down memory lane for me. So all those classic Raider players. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that game was definitely a precursor to the beatdown that we laid on Washington in Super Bowl 18. I think the Scares would have probably had a better shot in the Super Bowl had they actually let the Raiders just win that regular season game. But Oakland, they knew they could beat Washington, and Washington probably knew they could beat Washington. And henceforth, we got ourselves a 38-9 ass whooping that day.
Well, but here's the thing too, is that it showed how good the Raiders scouting was, because that they'd run that play that they ran before halftime in the Super Bowl. The little screen to Joe Washington.
Jack Squirrel jumped in front of it.
And it went for about 85 yards, if I remember correctly, in that game. But in the Super Bowl, they remembered it, and that's what caused them to put Jack Squirrel in and cover Joe Washington with him. And that's the key to the win. But I hate to go off on a tangent, but I thank you, Khalil Mack, for reminding me of that game because it was a lot of fun to go back.
Hell yeah, that was a pretty good game there, Jim. And hopefully we have ourselves another good game this Sunday here. So tonight, this has been the NGSC Blackhole Brigade. I'd like to thank you again, Jim. You did yourself a great job tonight. So, hey, anytime we talking Raiders, man, you the guy I got to do it with because you like my Raider brother from another mother. You like.
I can talk Raiders all day.
Yeah, like I said, if you ever come down, we probably spend all night talking Raiders.
Hey, there's 168 hours in a week. Half hour a week talking about the Raiders isn't enough.
Hey, hell, if we had a 168-hour Raider marathon, that still probably wouldn't be enough, Jim. I mean, there's just so much history and so many things to discuss.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're done for the night here, and Tuesday night here. I mean, we got ourselves a pretty good show over there on the NGSC. It's called the Flying Yellows Faithful. That's run by my good friends over there, Josh Matson and Shaq Krosky. They do a pretty good show. They do the New England Patriots more. They do them more credit than I could, would, or would even want to. But it's a great show. They're very smart. They love their Patriots. Give it a listen. And they've got themselves a new co-host over there, and John Doucette. So they do a really, really great show. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern over there on the NGSC. Wednesday night here, you got me and Josh Matson doing our thing, West Coast style, over there on the NGSC West Recess. And we always have ourselves a great time over there. We talk about things that happen in the West. We always have ourselves like a fun guest. And it's going to be a great show. So tune in Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll have ourselves some fun like we always do, fighting that West Coast bias. And say you can't get enough Raider football. I mean, I can't get enough either. Jim can't get enough either. So why don't you spend your Friday evening with us here in the Blackhole Brigade, Friday nights at 9:30 Eastern here on the NGSC. We'll break down the Oakland Green Bay game, and we'll probably take a look here at this here game between San Diego and Oakland. I know Christmas is Friday night, so we most likely won't be in our normal Friday slot. We'll get together with the higher-ups. Me and Jim will discuss it, but we'll be sure to get that information out to you when we will be on the air. So for my main man, Jim Paskowitz, I'm Raider Jerome Butler, my little brother's big brother. This has been the Blackhole Brigade. Good night, and go Raiders.